Following the Rococo ideals of extravagance and indulgence, the Neoclassical period of art valued simpler, less superficial subject matter. Paintings went from grand, ornate depictions of lavish lifestyles to no less stunning works depicting minimal realism. The cause for this sudden shift in art style and culture is entirely due to the Age of Enlightenment. During this period, there was an extremely close correlation between politics, art, and education, fueled by increasing access to antiquities. Not only did art significantly change in the 18th century, cultural values as a whole shifted away from secular subjects and embraced classical Greco-Roman ideals. The Age of Enlightenment is a European intellectual and cultural movement of the 17th and 18th centuries, which raised questions regarding God, logic, humanity, and nature, which resulted in revolutionary movements in art, philosophy, and politics. These movements centered around a general shift away from the church and organized religion towards more rational thought devoid of indoctrination. The goals of the self-proclaimed rational humanity were knowledge, freedom, and happiness, which they sought in Greco-Roman antiquities. A trend even emerged among the wealthy youth to embark on a grand tour, to witness the newly rediscovered archaeological ruins of Pompeii and Herculaneum in Rome. The general public began to romanticize the culture of these classical civilizations and carry the same set of standards they perceived the Greeks and Romans to have held. These new standards were suddenly present in politics, education, and art in particular. Artists began reviving classical art styles in an attempt to make their paintings and architecture mirror the idealized works of the Greco-Roman masters. Thus began Neoclassicism. Neoclassical art was largely a revival of classical art styles. Where the Rococo period brought lavish and ornate works, Neoclassical work favored simplicity and soft realism. The discovery of the archaeological ruins of long-lost civilizations further awoke a passion for ancient Greek and Roman myth in this period of art. Illustrations of first-hand accounts of the ruins, flooded museums, and modernized depictions of old fables emerged right alongside. Paintings depicting figures such as Medusa, Perseus, and Odysseus were among the titular pieces which define the Neoclassical period. An ancient tale that inspired one neoclassical artist was that of Aeneas and Dido. Pierre Narcisse Guerron was enamored by the story of Aeneas, a young prince of Troy, and his love for Dido, queen of Carthage, and their role in the Battle of Troy. Guerron's piece titled Aeneas Tells Dido the Misfortunes of the Trojan City depicts the young lovers casually discussing the carnage Aeneas himself is accredited to have directly caused. In many versions of the famous myth of Helen and Paris, such as the Aeneid, Aeneas is said to have claimed his mother, Venus, was more beautiful than Juno, which began an outright war between the goddesses. This war then led to the destruction of Aeneas' home of Troy. Dido, on the other hand, was queen of a city patroned by the goddess Juno, so her love for the young prince was a controversial affair, which aided in repairing a bond between the goddesses. Aeneas and Dido were said to have gone on to sire the founders of Rome, Remus and Romulus. This piece currently resides in the Louvre and serves as a prime example of the revival of Roman myth in the 18th century. One of the grandest paintings depicting a Greco-Roman tale is that made by a French neoclassical artist, Carl Vernet, under the title The Triumph of Aemilius Paulus. This incredible painting features over 100 fully realized figures and a dozen horses as they celebrate the victory of the Roman general Aemilius Paulus over King Perseus of Macedon in 168 BCE. Vernet managed to depict the scene set hundreds of years before his birth with such intricate realism, it almost seems hard to believe he was not present at that moment to record the scene on canvas. The landscape and architecture in the background of this piece are indicative that Vernet had the opportunity to see the ruins in person or worked from the accurate as-life illustrations of those who did. Overall, the discovery of ancient ruins drove an entire cultural movement that can be directly traced through the artwork produced at this time. Long-forgotten architecture of ancient Greek and Roman cities fueled the inspiration of artists all across Europe and defined a period of change, growth, and enlightenment.